Hello. You are joining me for this week's episode of Princess Interrupted, the podcast. I'm your host, Allison Ziggy, and today we are diving into a topic that is going to change your freaking life, and it is called releasing scarcity from your dating reality. Scarcity is a repeated belief pattern that what you want is somehow out of reach, it's somehow unavailable, it's somehow a limited resource, it's limited quantities, it's something that the lucky few get to experience. Didn't marry your high school sweetheart, didn't work out with your college boyfriend, didn't meet anybody in your 20s, you're doomed, says scarcity, but reality says otherwise. There are so many examples of what you want in your everyday reality, and by the end of this episode, my goal is to have you believe wholeheartedly in the love that you are calling in. This is the biggest qualifier when I talk to clients, when I talk to people, when I see how ready they are for love, is how much they believe in the inevitability of their outcome. Have you ever been having a conversation with your friend where you're just so upset, where something happened and you're like, I know this is the ultimate truth. I know I'm not going to end up alone. I know this is just a moment in time, but this is so hard right now. There's certain triggers that can poke on this energy within you where you start to feel like, oh my gosh, I got invited to another wedding. I'm going to have to go alone. This is so exhausting. This used to really trigger me because it was like I would start doing the reverse math and I would be like, these people are getting married and I don't even have someone that I could possibly invite, let alone someone that I'll likely be talking to in 8 months. If I had just started a relationship, I would be trying to clock the hours to make sure we would make it to the time that the wedding was around so that I would have someone to go with. Worse habit, literally take notes as to not do this, but I would plan a trip and I would have an extra ticket or something. And I would just put myself in this situation and put the universe in a chokehold where I had to attract a relationship by a certain date. I was like, yeah, it's going to happen. It's fine. And I would put so much pressure on it and it never freaking worked. It never worked. Anytime I did that, I was the most single that I had ever been because I was so focused on the fact that I didn't have it. And I tried to fake it till you make it, like manifesting the future, thinking by this time next year, I'll definitely have a boyfriend. And none of that worked because it was all rooted in scarcity. So where does scarcity come from? Scarcity can come from generational beliefs. It can come from your lineage. It can come from your lived experiences. It can also come from whatever media you're consuming. It can come from what you're watching on the internet. It can come from the conversations that you're having with friends. And scarcity is just this belief that what you want is going to be really difficult to attain. It's somehow limited. It's like catching lightning in a bottle to find a partner who loves you and grows with you and supports you. And scarcity can keep you stuck in some pretty sticky situations. Scarcity can be why people stay in relationships that are not ultimately serving them, that are not ultimately making them truly happy, that are ultimately not helping them to be their best selves. It's not our partner's job to provide us with the things that we need to give to ourselves, but if you're with the wrong partner, it can make it really hard to feel good. It can make it really hard to show up in the world the way that you know that you're meant to. If you're with a partner who doesn't support you, who doesn't share your vision for life, it's like you have one foot on the gas and one foot on the brakes. Another scenario is that you go on dates and you give people the benefit of the doubt and you start to second guess in your mind, like, I'm not really interested in this person. Maybe I should be. Am I just being too picky? Are looks really that important? Does it really matter that his job is like not that great? He doesn't really seem to have that much ambition, but like, yeah, isn't life just meant to be experienced? Does it really matter? And you start poking and questioning your desires. And you start questioning like why you want the things you want. And you start to turn it on you. Like, am I just being avoidant? Is this just a pattern? And you start to cross-analyze yourself and start to be like, what's wrong with me? Why is this not working again? Why am I still single? Why is this not working? And it starts to become more scarce. And then you're like, okay, maybe I just need to introduce new energy. You start swiping more. And then you start lining up more dates. And you line up dates where you get asked, like, do you want to go on a date? And you get that pit in the feeling of your stomach. And you're like, I don't know. Like, why are you asking me for a date? We exchanged 3 words. I know nothing about you. And I really value my time. And I don't know if I want to go out with you. And does that make something wrong with me? That's scarcity programming at play. Because the true relationship that is meant for you, you will never question, am I into this person? I've seen so many conflicting things online. And here is what I know to be true. Let me even close my eyes and go inward with you. Whatever you're doing, if you're driving, listening to this, or just take a moment and let's just center and heart to heart connect. And I just want to say to you, the love that you're calling in is going to expand your worldview. It's going to help you move through the world in a way where you feel so supported and so loved. And the right kind of love makes it even easier to love yourself because you have an external representation of what it means for someone to see you through their eyes and just be in amazement and just feel so lucky to have met you in this lifetime. It's not that being in love solves all of your problems or it's always going to be easy or you're never going to fight. But you get to become an even more actualized version of yourself through the experience of getting to know someone else. And releasing this need to figure it out and know exactly what's going to happen now and chart every last detail about them down to their zodiac sign. You don't need to do all of that. I open my eyes, you can open your eyes. Cleared some of the energy around this. There's so many things that I would see online as I was calling in love that just made me really uncomfortable. I would see people saying, don't marry for love. Love is not something you can build a stable foundation on. I agree from the perspective that you need a lot more. And the most important thing that I've come to find in relationships is a shared vision of the future and a shared world view. Do you want the same things out of life? Are your core desires in alignment or are they at odds with one another? When I started to view this as clues to who the people were who were meant for me, life started to get so much more fun. When I was going on dates, even if there were men who didn't ultimately align, I was not only able to have more fun with them in the process of the unfolding, I didn't need them to fit the mold of who they weren't. And I didn't make them wrong for that. And whenever the relationship did end for these reasons, I was able to let it go with grace because I knew that this was getting me one step closer to who I was ultimately meant to be with. I knew that I had become a softer, more compassionate version of myself as a result of having these experiences in relationships. And how can you look back on that with any perspective other than gratitude? These experiences aren't meant to make you bitter. They're not meant to be something that you hold against yourself or look back and feel like you'll never find it again. It's a reflection of how truly lovable you are. And time is irrelevant in all of this. It doesn't matter if the relationship lasted 2 minutes. It doesn't matter if the relationship lasted 200 years. What matters is the depth of the connection that you were able to feel, and the fact that you experienced it in the past means that you're able to experience it in the future. And beyond that, I invite you to adopt the belief that it's just going to continue to get better for you. As you develop what it means to be who you truly are. And for me, this looks like inviting more fun into every situation. This means being as much of myself as I can, sitting across the table from someone and letting myself share vulnerably in a place that feels safe, admitting things to other people that used to be difficult to admit to myself, letting people in so that they're able to support me because they truly understand what's happening, and receiving that love, giving an opportunity to other people to love you. Love is not scarce. You've just been believing that people aren't going to love all of you, and you've been withholding the parts of you that are calling out for love. I'm not telling you to go trauma dump and share all these unhealed things with unsafe people. But start cultivating that safety within yourself and within your life, and watch as your capacity to love grows and expands. I've been really focused on cultivating my friendships in this season of life. That feels really aligned for me. I've been traveling, I've been spending more time in Philadelphia. And the way that my heart could burst from all the love that I've been receiving, my friends came and visited me from New York. And I thought about the version of myself who lived in Philly and always wanted to move to New York. And the thought of my friends visiting me in Philly from New York just felt like such a beautiful manifestation that I never would have imagined for myself. And I didn't have to beg them. I didn't have to hound them. We mentioned it, and the next thing I knew, they were coming. And that's the way that it gets to be. And these connections were formed on the real self. It's not all like, how are you? I'm great. Everything's fine. Leading with the good. We had deep conversations about what was truly going on under the surface and shared vulnerably about things that were difficult. Not in a way of needing the other person to fix anything, but in a way of, I trust you enough to show you who I really am. And as a result, love was exchanged. And as you start to work on this within your own relationships, it's going to increase your capacity to give and receive love in a romantic context. Because when your caliber of friendships is that high, you're not going to settle in your partnerships. It's going to be so wildly out of alignment. And as you start to raise your romantic standards, you can't put them back down. I started holding men to higher standards who wanted to date me. When someone came in with the bare minimum effort, it wasn't fair to give them access to me because of the way that other people were willing to show up. And so it just naturally started to fall away. Flakiness, people who weren't serious, people who wanted superficial things, people who didn't have good intentions. This will give you the ick. Or it might just flatter your ego a little bit, but you won't fall for it. You won't be tempted to go back. And when you buy into the idea that love is scarce, you might romanticize the bare minimum. Romanticize the people who are currently showing up because you're like, well, this is as good as it's going to get. What else can I expect? That's not true. What's true is that you deserve to be loved. You deserve somebody who sees all of you and says, I want more. I want more where that came from because this is someone incredibly special. And you deserve someone who looks at the way that you view the world and enhances it and adds to it and shares ideas that you never thought were possible. And someone who sees you in your vulnerability, sees you in your areas of development and doesn't judge you for them, doesn't use them as reasons why you can't be together, but supports you through them. And not everyone is going to do that. I want to have a disclaimer that being vulnerable can push people away because it's going to push away the people who aren't meant for you. I have lost a lot of things on a result of being honest, but those weren't losses. Losses are losing a part of yourself. When you lose something that was never meant for you, or you lose something that your ego thinks it needs to feel safe, or something your ego thinks it needs to feel good enough, that's a gain because you have access and the ability to become more of yourself. And when you have a situation where it feels like your heart was broken, where you feel like you gave so much of yourself and it feels like this other person is walking away with a piece of you, I want to see you in that because I understand. I really, really understand how that feels. And it feels like this part of you that you either can't get back or you somehow can't access. But they didn't take that from you. And hearts are able to heal again. And what's really coming to mind is this quote where the cracks are where the light gets in. And when your heart breaks, it's actually expanding in capacity. It's actually becoming bigger. And you didn't lose anything. Maybe you lost the illusion of what you got to have from life, but you get to create an entirely new vision. And the fact that you're listening to this, and the fact that you're here, and the fact that you're desiring love, and the fact that you're feeling like you're capable and ready to call in deeper love shows me that it's possible for you. Do you really believe that we live in a world where the people who want love the most are not the same people who get it? Let's think that through. No. You have the desire because it's destined for you. And it might take time to unfold. In fact, I want you to go in with the expectation that it will take time to unfold, because nothing delays a timeline faster than rushing or wishing you were somewhere other than you are right now. That's also fear from scarcity, because you're afraid that things are never going to change in the way that you want them to. And I'm even like death gripping as I'm saying this, like holding on so tightly. I invite you to do this right now. Like make a fist and like curl your fingers and hold on so tight. And think about how hard it would be to call someone in. Someone's like, hey, can you hold this? And it's like a soft beating heart. You can't. Your hand is gripped. Your hand is gripped. You have no capacity to hold that love. You are blocking it. There is no room for flow to come in when you are death gripping life and you are saying that it needs to go this way. In fact, you are wasting so much of your energy holding on to something, and it is actually blocking you. And this can be holding on to something physically, or this can be holding on to the illusion that you have control. So I invite you to let go and feel as the energy courses in. And as you put your palm out, you can even just softly touch it. And I invite you to go through today, this weekend, this week, whatever time you're listening to this, with an opened palm approach. It's inviting. It's letting other people share. It's letting other people come in. It's a safe space to hold energy, to hold something precious. It's more of an energetic match for something. The belief that you have in scarcity is blocking what you're truly calling in. You don't need anything outside of what you have in this moment. It can feel like you do. It can feel like you don't have enough. It can feel like it's not safe. It can feel like you should be somewhere else. It can feel like every other person on the planet's married except for you. It's not true. It's not true. And you're going to look back on this time in your life, and the one thing that you can control is your perspective and the way that you showed up. Today could be the last day on earth that you spend single. Like, what? What? Today could be the best day of your life. You could meet a best friend today. You could get a call that changes the trajectory of your entire life. You could match with your soulmate on Hinge. You could bump into your soulmate at the grocery store. But there are so many other beautiful things that could happen to you. And I invite you to start playing with this energy. Start asking yourself, like, what's the best thing that could happen today? And why am I so focused on what I don't have? I know what it feels like when in your body things don't feel good. And you're either experiencing anxiety or these feelings of lack feel like they're actually like suffocating you. And this is where the work I do with my clients comes in, about regulating what's happening on your body. Your body is sending signals to your brain. And if your body doesn't feel safe, you're going to create thoughts around it that don't feel safe to contribute and provide a narrative to what you're experiencing. But when you release this, it makes life so much easier. When you find ways to regulate and find things that make you feel good, and you start to focus instead of getting away from where you're at, making the most of where you're at and enjoying it and falling in love with life on an even deeper level, you're going to find that opportunities and situations and people pop into your life, and it becomes easier to embrace where you're at. And then you'll blink and notice that you're not in that place anymore. And then someone will tap you on the shoulder and be like, oh my God, you're the sexiest woman I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, can I give you my number? Like, can I please take you out? Can I fly you away for the weekend? Can we like spend every day together for the rest of our lives? But no, that's like borderline love bombing. But love is real. Love is so real. Love is everywhere. And when you start cultivating that for yourself, and you start calling it into your life in the now, and you start receiving the love that's already there, it makes you so much more of a match for true, unconditional, like soulmate, like curl your toes, like I'm so in love. And you don't need a partner to cultivate this. And in fact, the more that you increase your capacity for love before your partner is here, the dreamier the relationship that you get to call in. I was feeling a little disconnected from my desire for love, not in a sense of a bad way, but just it hasn't been something that I've been consciously focused on calling in. And then I started reading those, I guess it's called ACOTAR, like A Court of Thorns and Roses books. And there's like some like schmexy scenes, sexy scenes. And I'm like, she's like talking about this like big strong man. And I'm like, ooh, don't mind if I do. Like, I don't know. I was kind of like reminded of the desire, but it wasn't in a way like I read it. I'm like, oh, I don't have that. I'm never going to have that again. Like, girl, yes, you will. I remember I was talking to my friend one time and I was like asking my pendulum if I was ever going to have sex again. And my friend was like, why would you ever waste a question on that? Like, what? That's insulting. Like, yeah, that is insulting. That shows I don't trust life. That shows that I don't trust my desires. Worrying is praying for what you don't want. What? Why would you ever do that? Why would you do that? When you could use your energy to believe and create and think and regulate. Okay, so here's the dealio. I am launching a challenge. It's going to be a 7-day challenge. There's not going to be videos every day, but it's going to be like a 7-day love immersion container. And I want it to be something that gets you feeling so excited about the inevitability of your desire. Like, so excited about the inevitability of calling in soulmate love. Like, just completely creating a rock solid belief that you get to have and experience this. It's going to be called Hot and Unbothered, because it's like hot and bothered, like, you know, when you're like hot and bothered, but we're going to be hot and unbothered. Like, we're going to be hot and unbothered. So it's going to be launching in June. And I'm going to include a link in the show notes. It's on pre-sale right now. And this is going to be a party and a half. And we're just going to call in. Like, it's going to be unlike anything I've ever hosted before. It's going to be 7 days. You're going to be in community. And it's going to be 3 trainings. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm going to include the details in the show notes. I'm still creating it, but would love for you to join us. I love you. I can't wait for all of this.